In this video, we're going to look at some Queda de Rins training, also known as the baby freeze. So first, I want to go over the difference between what I call a closed and open QDR. So first, the closed. To get here, I put both hands on the ground in a push-up position on the side of my legs and lower my body onto that closest arm, bringing my hip right on top of that elbow. Notice how my head and my feet are both on the ground so that my balance isn't too hard and the weight is distributed between those points of contact. The key part of the closed QDR is the fact that that second hand is in front of my face. So now we're going to look at the open QDR, which I prefer a lot more. Here's the same thing, but rather than that hand going in front of my face, the second arm goes all the way over above my head. So you can see I can look under my arm at my target. This gives a lot more flexibility in this movement and really just a lot more options as to where you can go in and out of it. So to train this statically, or just hold to this movement, we're going to progressively look at more and more difficult variations to build up strength in your wrists and really your balance on the ground here. So this first variation just has my head and hands and feet on the ground. And to make it a little more difficult, you can spread out your legs. My head is still on the ground, and if you look closely, that front leg, the toes in that front leg are touching the ground as well to keep that balance. So I go down just like before, and then stick that leg forward. The top leg is just about in line with the rest of my body. In this angle you see my hands go down onto that arm, and then I kick the leg forward. Once you're comfortable with this, the next step is to remove your head from the ground. So now the only points of contact with the ground are your hands and that front foot. This is going to make you put more weight on the support arm, the arm that you have in your hip, and work a little bit harder to maintain that balance. The next step from here is to remove another point of contact to try to work on your balance a little more and increase the load on your hand. So now, go down and leave only my hands on the ground. This really puts a lot of load on your wrists, so be gentle with this one and approach this slowly, working through all the other progressions before you get here. Go down, just push that leg forward. You can see I make a lot of small movements when I'm in this version. Those are just small rebalancing things, adjustments that you'll have to make sure that you stay up on that arm. Once you've mastered this version, I highly recommend that you start working on a single arm Queda de Rins. To do that, you're going to start in that previous progression with only your hands on the ground, and then slowly start to take that second hand above your head off. To do that, you're going to have to progressively push more and more weight onto the support arm, so you can lessen the help that you get from the hand until you can take it completely off. Mastering this version will really do wonders for your wrist strength and mobility. In addition to static holds, there's also some active movements which will really help with the development of this move. And these are really simple Queda de Rins push-ups. So you start in a standing straddle, and then put your hands on the ground a good distance from your feet, and just sink down into that Queda de Rins position. Here I'm sinking into the closed version, and this would just be the easiest variation of this kind of push-up. Hands go down, and draw my legs in as I go into that support elbow. Here it is from the other angle. Whether or not you keep your feet on the ground is up to you. It is easier to keep them on the ground, but as you get more comfortable with that, you can play around with keeping them off, and even keeping your head off the ground. More advanced version is the split leg Queda de Rins from the previous progressions. Here I basically roll that back leg right over myself until I feel that balance, and then I can take the front leg off the ground. Again, you can either leave that bottom leg on the ground or take it off if you're comfortable with. I'd recommend just using whichever variation, whichever hardest variation from the static progression that you can do to use here to really help your development and give you lots of ways to get in and out of this position in your flows.